Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the stories making the headlines.
Unimaginable grief. A County Clare village prepares for the funerals of Vanessa White and her children James Rutledge and Sarah Rutledge.
This faith community of Bearfield is very much a community in mourning at the loss of people they knew well and that they loved very much and very deeply.
A court has told a report on Lady Eleanor Donaldson's health is due to be completed next week. She and her husband Sir Jeffrey Donaldson deny historic sex offences.
It has showcased the talents of Liam Neeson and Jimmy Nesbitt, but now the final curtain is coming down on the Riverside Theatre in Coleraine.
It's sad. I wish it hadn't had to have happened, and I'm deeply upset that the university found themselves in a position where they felt this was the decision they had to make.
Also tonight,
I've been meeting baby Fia, who was born 103 days early but has just made it safely home, thriving and well, and it's all thanks to some magic milk.
Irish Stars have helped the Lions maul Australia twice, but with the Series 1 they're sharpening their claws for a Wallaby whitewash.
And we have a change on the way through Monday with the arrival of Storm Floris. I'll have all of the details later in the programme.
the focus for the unimaginable grief surrounding the murders of Vanessa White and her children James Rutledge and Sarah Rutledge has fallen on County Clare. Mourners are gathering in Vanessa's home village of Bearfield ahead of Requiem Mass at the Church of Immaculate Conception tomorrow.
The mother and children were shot dead at their home in Maguire's Bridge in County Fermanagh last week. The parish priest said the community is in mourning and incredibly shocked by the deaths.
We can join Sarah O'Kane live in Bearfield for us this evening. Sarah.
Well, yes, I'm not sure how much you can see over my shoulder, but people here are still turning out at the church and have been since around 2:30 this afternoon. I would say well over 1,000 people so far have come to pay their respects. As you can imagine, everyone here simply cannot believe what has happened. Inside, they've been comforting the family. The coffins of Vanessa White and her two children, Sarah and James Rutledge, have made the journey to County Clare, where they will be laid to rest. Over 100 miles away from Maguire's Bridge, the community here in Bearfield are now preparing for their goodbye after a special service of removal in Fermanagh on Wednesday. The 45-year-old and her teenage children were shot dead in a suspected triple murder-suicide over a week ago.
There has been a very palpable sense of grief and sorrow and loss and deep mourning throughout this community. The challenge of trying to understand how something like this could happen is hugely great, and there are no words, and indeed all we can offer as a community here is the promise to be present with Vanessa's family, not only in the days around this time, but also in the weeks, the months, and indeed the years ahead.
Vanessa, a respected vet, grew up here and continued to holiday here. The family were due to come to Bearfield this weekend. Her coffin was carried into the church, draped in the local GAA club colours, where all three will lie in repose at the Church of the Immaculate Conception. Hundreds are expected to come and pay their respects ahead of the funeral tomorrow.
Vanessa was born and grew up here and was very much part of the life of this community. Her mother Mary and her late father were also very much at the heart of the life of this parish, and Sarah and James visited so often during their lifetime and participated in so many activities here that they too would be very much part of this family.
In terms of tomorrow, how big are you expecting the turnout?
Well, I think in some ways for a church like Bearfield, a small country church, it will be unprecedented. And again, that's part of that sense of community that is so strong here. People will want for Vanessa's family not to feel alone at this time, not to feel that they're making the journey alone.
Ian Rutledge, the children's father and the man suspected of murdering his family, died in hospital on Monday following the shooting at their home on the Dromere Road. Vanessa, James and Sarah loved sport. St Joseph's Dura GAA Club, as a mark of respect, have closed their facilities today and tomorrow. Flags fly at half-mast on the grounds. This is very much a village in mourning. You can see it's on everyone's faces here, the sadness, the grief and the shock at the murder of Vanessa and her 2 children. That image again of those 3 coffins is so hard for everyone to take in. Now, a Requiem Mass is being held here at 12 o'clock before Vanessa, James and Sarah are laid to rest. We are expecting a big turnout, and going by the numbers here today, everyone in this county is coming to pay their respects. We are once again being asked, and those attending this funeral are once again being asked, to wear bright and colourful colours to the funeral. Bearfield, like I said earlier, is really preparing to say goodbye.
Sarah O'Kane in County Clare, thank you. Moving on now, and a judge has stressed that the trial involving former DUP leader Sir Jeffrey Donaldsons and his wife should not be delayed further.
The trial on historic sex offences, which they both deny, had been due to get underway earlier this year. However, it was postponed. A review hearing took place in Belfast this morning, where the court was given an update regarding Eleanor Donaldson's health. Stuart Robson was in court.
Neither Jeffrey or Eleanor Donaldson were required to attend this latest hearing in Belfast. The former DUP leader and his wife are jointly charged with alleged historical sexual offences, all of which they deny. Sir Jeffrey, who is 62, is charged with 18 alleged offences carried out between 1985 and 2008. They include 1 count of rape. Eleanor Donaldson is facing charges of aiding and abetting. Both are listed as living at the same address on Dublin Hill Road in Dromore. The court was provided with an update relating to the 59-year-old's mental health. Eleanor Donaldson's defence barrister said that she was examined on the 18th of July by a consultant psychiatrist. A report, he said, is expected to be received on Monday. The court also heard that the prosecution intends to instruct a doctor to examine Miss Donaldson. A trial had been due to start in March, but was postponed because of her health. The judge told the court that a trial is still expected to take place in November. The case will be heard once again at a review hearing in Newry on the 11th of September. Stuart Robson, UTV Live at Laginside Courthouse.
Now, one of Northern Ireland's most famous actors has told UTV he's deeply upset by Ulster University's closure of the theatre where his career began. Jimmy Nesbitt was speaking as the Riverside Theatre in Coleraine shut its door for the final time today.
The star, who is a former Chancellor of the university, says he's disappointed it felt that financial challenges in third-level education meant it could no longer afford to run the venue. Here's our North West correspondent, Gareth Wilkinson.
Ladies and gentlemen!
Jimmy Nesbitt's ascent to stardom began here. It's where he first tread the boards as a young performer.
A celebration of the one thing!
But after more than 50 years, the show's over for the Riverside Theatre, and the final curtain fell today.
It's sad. I wish it hadn't had to have happened, and I'm deeply upset that the university found themselves in a position where they felt this was the decision they had to make. It was a place where I kind of did a lot of my kind of formative growing up. I learned an awful lot there, stuff that I still use today. I learned the understanding of discipline and hard work, but also to enjoy it. That no performance is the same. I mean, it was a great training ground.
The theatre was the jewel in the North Coast cultural crown, opened by the Queen in the 1970s and run by the University of Ulster on its Coleraine campus. But operating costs came to nearly £500,000 each year, and an essential refurbishment was priced at over £700,000. Money the university said it needs elsewhere.
I was Chancellor of Ulster University for 10 years, something I'm very proud about. And you know, it's very disappointing the university of which I was Chancellor has found itself necessary to take this decision and close this iconic arts venue. It's very sad.
A campaign to save the Riverside was high profile and noisy, but there wasn't to be a happy ending.
So it's just very sad that I'm looking back at this building and knowing that no one will perform on that stage again.
Local actor Stephen Miller led the fight to keep the theatre open, and he's now battling for a new venue for the performing arts in the area.
We're definitely not going to give up. Even though it is a sad, gloomy day, we also have to try and be positive and hopeful for the future.
They'll never recognise me now.
I mean, it really was an important heartbeat. It's a great loss to the community, and you know, it's also disappointing just in the long-term reduction of investment in the arts. I think the cost is an awful lot more than what they think they're saving, frankly.
After more than half a century of song, of dance and drama, this stage fell silent today. Gareth Wilkinson, UTV Live, Coleraine.
A race attack in Larne overnight has forced people living in 2 properties in the town to flee their homes.
It happened in the Anfield estate and has been widely condemned by local politicians. The housing executive has said it's helping the affected families. Peter Moore has this report.
Boarded up windows and graffiti, signs of hate from last night. Masked men were seen attacking this apartment block on Hampton Crescent in Larne at around 10:30. Windows and a door were damaged. Then, just around the corner on Doric Way, another house was attacked. Police arrived at the scene here in the Antiville estate, but the suspects had already fled. No one in these properties was injured as a result of these attacks. Both were said to be terrified by what happened. It's understood that both people involved have now actually moved out of the area.
Well, my message to those who would do it is stop it now, stop it completely. There's lots of conversations and discussions to be had around issues of immigration, but this is not the way to help your case or to advance those discussions. It closes us down, so stop it.
What was your reaction when you heard what happened?
Sad. Larne is in the news again, and we are better than this in Larne, so I would condemn it very strongly. Again, there's no place for this kind of behaviour in this society.
Police are treating these attacks as racially motivated hate crimes, calling them utterly unacceptable. Peter Moore, UTV Live, Larne.
The family of Robert Kincaid Jr., who went missing in Paris on the 17th of July, say he has been found. The East Belfast man had been working on an oil rig in West Africa and was on his way back to Northern Ireland, but missed his connecting flight to Dublin. He was discovered by emergency services and is being treated in hospital in France.
The first person convicted of rioting in Ballymena in June has been jailed for 4 months. Jamie Lee McCracken, who's 34 and of no fixed abode, pleaded guilty to riotous behaviour at the town's magistrates' court. Police said prosecutions associated with the racially motivated violence in Ballymena will continue over the coming months.
Police are appealing for witnesses following 3 armed robberies in South Belfast within 24 hours. It's believed they were carried out by the same individual. The suspect entered off licences in the Sunnyside Street, Stranmillis Road and Ormo Road areas yesterday and threatened staff with a knife.
Time now to look at tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
Here's Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up, plans for a 3rd runway at Heathrow take off. Airport bosses say Heathrow must expand and modernise, but the battle over the environmental and local impact is far from finished. Sheffield Wednesday in crisis, an uncertain future for one of Britain's oldest football clubs. And the name's Knight, Stephen Knight, from Peaky Blinders to 007, the screenwriter for the next James Bond film, is announced. Join with those stories and more at 6:30.
Breast milk is being praised as the magic medicine which has helped a tiny baby born 15 weeks early survive and thrive. Fia Coburn weighed less than 2 pounds when she was born in April, and just last week she was discharged from the neonatal unit on her actual due date.
Experts said it was thanks to the liquid gold that was her mother's milk, complete with all its antibodies, enzymes and bacteria. Sarah McCarran met the miracle baby.
1 day old and weighing just 1 pound and 12 ounces. Fia Coburn arrived when her mum, Marie-Louise, was only 25 weeks pregnant. And look at her now. She's 7 pounds and 7 ounces and was discharged back home to 2 loving big brothers last week on what was supposed to be her due date. She'd been fed on what the neonatal staff here call nature's vaccine, or tailor-made personalised medicine, her mother's expressed milk.
I didn't know if I would be able to breastfeed initially because she came so early and I was quite unwell at the start as well. But the hospital were great. As a parent with a child in the neonatal, you often feel quite helpless, just sort of looking at your tiny baby through the glass of an incubator. Providing breast milk is something that is a way to help, you know, and it gave me something to do in a way where I could really focus on that, and it was so good to be able to provide that for her.
There is a milk bank where donations are fed to other premature babies, but help is on hand to assist mothers to provide this liquid gold themselves too, because staff say there is just nothing like it.
My main job would normally be speaking to mums, be it from the very beginning of their breastfeeding journey, getting those small, tiny amounts of milk from the breast, hand expressing, and then moving on to using the pump and building up that supply. And cortisol, that stress hormone, it's really impacts the oxytocin. So it's really about trying to find ways for the mum to relax.
What's helping is the long-term studies are now coming out and being published to show the benefits that breast milk protection for the brain, builds better bones, has all the immunity, is nature's vaccine. That is empowering the parents, that's getting that message out, and you only need one mum expressing or breastfeeding on the unit to normalise it.
Of course, how to feed the baby is a personal choice, and this was not easy. Dad Jamie sees that.
Very, very proud of everything that she's done, the sacrifices she made, how unwell she was after Fia was born, and the commitment that she made to pump so many times a day to provide the nutrition that Fia needs now to thrive and do so well at this point.
Free from hospital tubes, it's time now for Fia to concentrate on, well, doing baby things.
Have you settled down again now, have you?
Sarah McCarran, UTV Live, The Royal.
Oh, what a lovely story. Now it's time for sport.
Yes, here's our Daniel.
What a signing! John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Good evening. Ireland legend Willie John McBride was the last man to captain the British and Irish Lions to 3 Test wins in a row. That was in 1974. Over 50 years on, Maro Itoje's team can write its name into the history books in Sydney. The Lions secured the series last weekend in Melbourne, and 9 Irish stars start tomorrow as Andy Farrell's Lions look to complete the whitewash over the Wallabies. It has been a tour to remember for the Lions with 2 wins from 2. They have the chance to become the first team to secure a clean sweep since 1927.
It's been a great week as far as recovering, reflecting, etc. But when we came back into work on Tuesday afternoon, the process has been exactly the same, and we've put ourselves in a position now that we're fortunate enough to go into the 3rd test, and a lot to play for.
The squad has a close bond, the perfect recipe for any team that aims to be successful.
There's been no separation, we've all trained together. Doesn't matter whether you've played the day before or whatever, you've always helped the next team that's going out there. And you all know that the modern day game is always about the 23 that take the field, not the 15 anymore, but it's way beyond that for us. It was about the 38 or the 41 or the 44, whichever way you want to look at it.
After this series, Andy Farrell will return to his day job as Ireland head coach. But how would he like his Lions team to be remembered in the future?
Hopefully be remembered for the type of rugby that we played and the way that we went about it together. That's it. We came here wanted to win a series. We've achieved that, but we've a massive responsibility to make sure that we finish this off with something that we promised ourselves with. So it's a big ask. But it's something that we're determined to do.
It was a night of mixed fortunes for Irish League clubs in Europe. Dungannon Conference League adventure came to an end with a 3-1 aggregate defeat, while Larne progressed to the next round on penalties, and Lynfield are also through. Ruth Gorman was at Windsor Park for us.
When your top striker leaves the club, there's always going to be questions over where the goals will come from. Last night, Kieran Offord answered some of those concerns. The 21-year-old, who is entering his first full season with the Blues, pulled this super strike out of the bag to seal the match for Lynfield.
Ideal night, to be fair. You know, get through to the next round and bag myself a goal, so yeah, happy. We're going to have a couple of days to look over the team from Faroe Islands and travel over next week, or obviously next week. And then, yeah, good look forward to that.
Lynfield had gone ahead in the opening few minutes but failed to add to their early lead with a missed penalty. Offord helped ease the nerves with his strike, and the Blues go marching on to the final stage before the Conference League playoffs.
We know the importance of it financially for us. It's always well documented in the local press about how important it is financially. And us as a football club, and people agree or don't agree that we don't have financial investment coming in. So nights like this, progression through rounds of Europe, are more than helpful. And now we've got an opportunity to go to the Faroes next week and see how that goes.
Healy was also keen to praise the fans last night after recent trouble at the Shelbourne game.
We have an expectant crowd, but we've got an unbelievable supportive crowd. They probably maybe felt a little bit, I'd say surprised when it was easy at 2-0, but probably a little bit uneasy because it was so comfortable, or we felt as if it was comfortable at the time. But you know, their appreciation at the end, hugely supportive of the players, myself and the rest of the staff, and that's what this place can bring to a proper atmosphere on a European night or a domestic game that we have.
So a trip to the Faroe Islands awaits for the Blues next Thursday, with the home leg a week later. Ruth Gorman, UTV Live, Windsor Park.
And finally, good luck to Antrim and Tyrone ladies Gaelic footballers in the junior and intermediate All-Ireland finals on Croke Park on Sunday. That's all your sport. Have a great weekend.
What a signing! John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Now the weekend beckons, so will the weather be kind?
Well, a change is on the way.
Oh no.
Storm's brewing. Louise has all the details.
Yes, we have some very wet and very windy, unseasonably windy weather coming our way through Monday with the arrival of Storm Florence, and it's all courtesy of the jet stream. We have a low pressure system pushing in from the Atlantic. It will deepen, rapidly deepen, as it moves to the left-hand side of the jet, bringing some very strong winds our way, 40 to 50 miles per hour inland, with the possibility of 60 miles per hour along the northwest and the north coast. But along with that wind, we also have some very heavy rain. It should all move through relatively quickly due to the strength of the winds, but bear in mind our weather has been relatively settled recently. This is our first named storm in 6 months. The last storm was Storm Eowyn way back in January. It will move through relatively quickly, becoming settled again through Tuesday, but do stay up to date with the forecast, and here is the latest forecast.
Bringing the warm sunshine outside, inside. UTV Weather. Sponsored by the Grant Arona R290 heat pump.
So we have a rather settled weekend to come ahead of the unsettled conditions on Monday with the arrival of Storm Florence. We have a yellow warning for wind in place from 6 o'clock on Monday morning, staying with us right through until 6 o'clock on Tuesday morning. We can expect some very wet and windy conditions with the risk of some gales along the coasts. Taking a look at the pressure sequence, high pressure will dominate for the next couple of days, keeping things largely dry and settled by daytime. We do have some rain pushing through tomorrow night. Then we have the arrival of Storm Florence filtering through there on Monday, so a real change coming our way. Ahead of that, it's dry tonight, clear skies developing. We could have some mist and fog patches forming. Winds will stay light, but temperatures will fall away to lows of around 8 degrees Celsius across the southeast, quite cool in comparison to the past few nights. Tomorrow then gets off to a dry start, plenty of bright and sunny spells through the first part of the day, variable amounts of cloud into the afternoon with thicker cloud building across the west ahead of that frontal system bringing rain tomorrow night. Wednesday generally light, temperatures reaching highs of around 21 degrees Celsius. Across the rest of Ireland, plenty of bright and sunny spells across eastern counties. Thicker cloud building across the west ahead of that frontal system bringing rain tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures reaching highs of around 21 or 22 degrees Celsius with light winds. If we look ahead to Monday then, you can see that heavy rain pushing through, strong winds as Florence moves through. It should move through relatively quickly on the strength of the winds, but do stay up to date for further updates over the weekend. Ahead of that, plenty of fine and dry weather by day. Over the weekend, temperatures ever so slightly above average. That is the very latest. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye for now.
UTV weather, sponsored by the Grande Rona R290 heat pump.
A blustery few days ahead. Now, well, we need your help finding an amazing local fundraiser to represent UTV at the star-studded Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards in London.
If you know someone who goes the extra mile for a special cause that makes a real difference in their community, we want to hear from you. Here's Paul Riley.
Get ready for a very special night.
The Pride of Britain Awards is a national institution. Now in its 26th year, it's an annual event celebrating the bravery and brilliance of those who display true grit and determination. ITV regional news programmes have played a big part in Pride of Britain, helping to find those amazing fundraisers who make an incredible difference in their communities. And now we're looking for our next champions, people who go that extra mile to raise money for a special cause. You can nominate an individual or a group of people, and with a special insight into what we're looking for, here's one of the Pride of Britain judges, ITV's very own Ben Shepherd.
I think the things that are hugely important is finding someone who is absolutely invested in their community, that has gone above and beyond for the people around them, without doubt has put themselves in a position where they've created an extraordinary movement with the charity endeavour that they've done, and really just because they have a huge passion for the people around them, the community they live in, they have done everything they can to try and change the lives of those people that they live alongside.
So do you know someone who fits the bill and deserves recognition? All you have to do to nominate them is to go to itv.com/Pride of Britain. That's all one word. Nominations are now open and close at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday the 10th of August. A full list of terms and conditions can be found at itv.com.
Get those nominations in. That's you up to date on UTV Live this Friday, the 1st of August. Aidan Brown will be back with the late news at 10:30.
And UTV Life is back with Pammy in half an hour. In the meantime, the ITV News continues with Lucrezia Millarini from the entire UTV team. Thanks for watching, have a lovely evening and a great weekend. Bye-bye.